Let me take you back to that electric moment under the glittering chandeliers of the Beverly Hills Ritz, where the air hummed with the clink of champagne glasses and the murmur of influential voices. I stood there in my crisp navy dress whites, my heart pounding like the relentless waves against a ship's hull during a storm at sea. My sister, Brooke, leaned over with that signature smirk of hers, the one she'd perfected from years in the spotlight, and whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "She only got on stage because it's a charity thing. Pity invite, right?" Her words stung like salt in an open wound, but oh, how the tables turned when the MC called my name, Captain Lena Cartwright, United States Navy, honored for acts of quiet heroism that saved 23 lives across treacherous seas. The room erupted. Chairs scraped back as everyone but Brooke, rose to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. Tears pricked my eyes, not from the applause, but from the validation I'd chased through 22 years of service. That night wasn't just about me, it was the climax of a lifetime of shadows, sacrifices, and unbreakable bonds forged in the Navy's unyielding embrace. If you've ever felt invisible in your own story, stick with me. This is how I stepped into the light, and how my sister's envy turned to awe. Welcome to Valor Voice, where we honor the unsung heroes who sail through storms others can't even imagine. My name is Lena Cartwright, and I've spent over 2 decades in the United States Navy, rising from a wide-eyed ensign to a seasoned captain specializing in logistics and supply chain operations aboard some of the mightiest vessels in our fleet. But before I dive into that fateful gala, let me pull you into the depths of where it all began. Picture a small coastal town in Maine, where the ocean's roar was my lullaby and the salty breeze my constant companion. I was the younger sister, always trailing behind Brooke like a shadow in the fog. Brooke was the golden child, the one with the flawless curls, the pageant crown stacking up on her dresser like trophies from a fairy tale. By age 10, she was already modeling for local ads, her face beaming from billboards advertising everything from ice cream to back-to-school clothes. Me? I was the tomboy scrambling up rocky cliffs, building forts from driftwood, and dreaming of adventures beyond our sleepy harbor. Our parents, Evelyn and Thomas, did their best to balance us. Dad was a fisherman, tough as barnacles, with hands calloused from hauling nets at dawn. Mom worked as a schoolteacher, her gentle voice weaving stories that sparked my imagination. But even then, the divide was clear. Brooke got the spotlight, the birthday parties with pony rides and professional photographers, while I got hand-me-downs and quiet afternoons exploring tide pools alone. One memory stands out like a lighthouse in the night. It was my 12th birthday, a blustery autumn day. Brooke had just won another beauty contest, and the house was buzzing with her victory. Mom baked a cake, a simple vanilla one for me, but Brooke's friends swarmed in, turning it into an impromptu celebration for her. "Lena doesn't mind sharing," Brooke said with a laugh, blowing out my candles before I could. I forced a smile, but inside, it felt like drowning in shallow water. Dad noticed, though. That evening, he took me out on his boat, just the two of us. The waves rocked us gently as he pointed to the horizon. "The sea doesn't care about crowns or applause, Lena," he said, his voice gravelly from years of salt air. "It respects those who navigate its depths with steady hands. That's where real valor lives, not in the shallows." Those words planted a seed. While Brooke chased fame in the glitzy world of Los Angeles, I found my calling in the Navy. At 19, fresh out of high school, I enlisted, drawn to the promise of purpose, structure, and the chance to serve something bigger than myself. Brooke called it my rebel phase, laughing it off at family dinners. "Lena's off to play sailor," she'd tease. Little did she know, it would define me. Boot camp was my first real test, a grueling 8 weeks at Great Lakes, Illinois, where the wind off Lake Michigan whipped like a nor'easter. I remember the drill instructors barking orders at 4 o'clock, pushing us through obstacle courses until our muscles screamed. I was one of the few women in my division, and the guys tested me constantly. "Think you can hack it, Cartwright?" one recruit sneered during a 10-mile ruck march. I gritted my teeth, my pack digging into my shoulders, and pushed forward. By the end, I wasn't just keeping up, I was leading the pack. That earned me respect, and a nickname, Iron Lena. From there, I advanced to officer candidate school, earning my commission as an ensign. My specialty? Logistics. Not the glamorous stuff like piloting jets or commanding subs, but the backbone of every operation, ensuring ships had fuel, ammo, food, and medical supplies when lives depended on it. It's the invisible work, the midnight inventories, the frantic rerouting during crises, that keeps the Navy afloat. And in 22 years, I've deployed 10 times, from the Persian Gulf to the South China Sea, facing everything from pirate threats to typhoons that could swallow a carrier whole. Let me paint a picture of my first deployment, aboard the USS Horizon, a massive amphibious assault ship steaming through the Arabian Sea. I was 21, green as seaweed, responsible for coordinating supply drops to forward operating bases. The heat was oppressive, 110 degrees in the shade, and the ship rolled with every swell, making even simple tasks like typing reports a battle against seasickness. One night, during a routine resupply mission, intel came in about a brewing storm. Winds were picking up to 60 knots, waves cresting at 30 feet. Our helicopters were grounded, but a Marine unit on shore was low on rations and meds. Lives were at stake, dehydration and infections don't wait for clear skies. I huddled in the logistics center, poring over charts and satellite feeds, my fingers flying across the keyboard. "We can't risk the birds," the captain said, but I proposed an alternative, reroute a nearby destroyer to act as a relay, using drones for the final drop. It was risky, drones aren't built for monsoons, but I calculated the trajectories, factoring in wind shear and fuel burn. We pulled it off. Those supplies reached the Marines just in time, saving a squad from collapse. That was my first taste of saving lives without firing a shot. But victories like that came with shadows. I lost count of the nights I stared at the bulkhead, replaying close calls. Like the time a supply convoy hit an IED proxy in an Allied port, 2 sailors gone in a flash. I wasn't there, but as the officer who planned the route, the guilt gnawed at me like barnacles on a hull. Over the years, the deployments blurred into a tapestry of ports and perils. In the South Pacific, aboard the USS Vanguard, I managed logistics during a humanitarian crisis after a massive earthquake. Tsunamis had devastated islands, and we were the first responders. I coordinated airlifts of water purifiers, tents, and medical kits, working 20-hour shifts. One villager, an elderly woman with eyes like polished obsidian, grasped my hand and whispered, "You brought the sea's mercy." Moments like that fueled me. But back home, it was different. Brooke had built an empire, a lifestyle brand called Brooke Glow, peddling skincare, yoga wear, and a podcast with over 500,000 subscribers. She jetted between photo shoots and red carpets, her Instagram a parade of filtered perfection. Our calls were rare, superficial. "How's the boat life?" she'd ask, as if I was on a cruise. I'd bite back the urge to describe the bone-chilling cold of Arctic patrols or the adrenaline of evading submarine threats. "Fine," I'd say. Mom tried to bridge the gap, sending care packages with Brooks products, lip gloss that melted in the heat, fitness bands I used for makeshift repairs. Dad, before he passed quietly in his sleep 2 years ago, was my quiet anchor. He'd emailed during deployments, "Proud of you, kid. Keep the ship steady. I saved everyone." The rift with Brooke deepened over time. During my 3rd deployment, in the Mediterranean, I turned 25. No cake, no calls, just a quick email from Mom. Brooke posted a lavish birthday bash for herself online, captioning it "Living my best life." I scrolled through it in my bunk, the ship's hum drowning my sigh. Why bother reaching out? She saw my Navy career as a detour, a weird hobby that kept me from real success. Once, at a family reunion before Dad's passing, she pulled me aside. "Lena, when are you done with this? Come to LA, I could get you into influencing. You'd clean up with that uniform vibe." I laughed it off, but it hurt. My uniform wasn't a costume, it was armor forged in fire and foam. Fast forward to 3 months before the Gala. My final deployment wrapped up in the Gulf of Oman, aboard the USS Resilience. I'd just overseen a massive resupply for a joint task force, ensuring seamless operations amid rising tensions. But the real heroics came during a freak squall. Our ship was escorting a convoy when radar picked up a distress signal from a smaller vessel, a civilian tanker taking on water. Waves battered us, visibility 0. As logistics officer, I mobilized rescue teams, calculating fuel reserves and coordinating with helicopters despite the gale. We launched Zodiacs, small boats that bobbed like corks, and I volunteered to lead one. Clinging to the rail, salt spray stinging my face, I directed the transfer of 23 crew members from the sinking tanker. One man, a young engineer, slipped into the churning sea. Without thinking, I dove in, my life vest inflating as I grabbed his collar. We hauled him aboard, hypothermic but alive. That night, back on the Resilience, Chief Petty Officer Ramirez, my mentor, a grizzled vet with tattoos from every port, clapped my shoulder. "Cartwright, you just earned your stripes all over again." The captain put me in for a commendation, but I downplayed it. "Just doing the job," I said. Inside, it was everything, proof that my invisible role could shine in the storm. Homecoming was anticlimactic. No parades, just a quiet flight to San Diego, then a drive to Mom's house in Maine. The grocery stores overwhelmed me, aisles of choices after months of emeries. Sleep came in fits, haunted by the sea's ghosts. Mom hugged me tight, her eyes misty. "Your dad would be so proud." She showed me his old desk drawer, where he'd kept my first deployment letter, yellowed but cherished. "Dear family," it read, "out here, the stars are brighter, but home pulls stronger. Love, Lena." Brooke? A text, "Welcome back. Busy with shoots, but congrats or whatever." That stung more than any wave. Then came the invitation. Mom mentioned Brooke's charity gala, Women of Impact, honoring influencers, entrepreneurs, and a few real heroes like vets. "Brooke wants you there," Mom said. I doubted it, but when Brooke called, her voice bubbly, "Hey sis, come to the event. They need diversity, uniforms are hot right now." I almost declined, but something stirred, a need to be seen. "Fine," I said. "I'll wear my whites." The gala night arrived like a tidal wave. The Ritz shimmered with opulence, crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, tables laden with caviar and artisanal cocktails. I felt like a fish out of water in my dress uniform, medals glinting under the lights. Attendees milled about, a celebrity chef, a tech mogul, a reality star with perfect contouring. Brooke, in a sequined gown, air-kissed cheeks from afar. I was seated at a peripheral table with a nutritionist and a gym owner, both gushing about Brooke's podcast. "She's so inspiring," the nutritionist said. I nodded, sipping water. Then, during the mingling, Brooke sauntered over briefly. "You clean up okay," she quipped. But as the program started, she leaned in with that whisper, "She only got on stage because it's charity." My blood boiled, but I held steady. The MC, a polished host with a microphone smile, took the stage. "Tonight, we honor not just glamour, but grit. Please welcome Captain Lena Cartwright, U.S. Navy, whose logistical brilliance and bravery saved 23 lives in a daring sea rescue." The spotlight hit me like a searchlight. Applause thundered. People stood, the chef, the mogul, even the reality star. My table mates cheered. I walked to the podium, legs steady from years on rolling decks. "Thank you," I began, voice clear. "Service isn't about spotlights or selfies. It's about the 2 a.m. watch, rerouting supplies so a sailor can hug his kid again. It's the quiet valor that keeps us all afloat." I locked eyes with Brooke, seated rigidly. No filter can fake that. The ovation swelled again, a wave of affirmation crashing over me. Post-speech, the night transformed. Strangers approached, a widow whose husband served on my ship, thanking me with tearful hugs, a young woman considering enlistment, peppering me with questions. "How do you stay strong?" she asked. "One wave at a time," I replied. Brooke hovered on the edges, her smile strained. Finally, she cornered me by the bar. "Nice performance. You had them eating out of your hand." I met her gaze. "It wasn't a performance, Brooke. This is who I am." She faltered. "Mom would love this." Then she turned away, heels clicking like retreating gunfire. Driving home that night, the city lights blurred through my windshield. Emotions surged, triumph mixed with sorrow. Why had it taken this for her to see me? Flashbacks hit, childhood bike rides where Brooke always led, leaving me in the dust, my first leave home, when she skipped dinner for a date, the email I sent after Dad's funeral, unanswered. But the Navy taught me resilience. "Adapt and overcome," Ramirez always said. So I did. 2 days later, I visited Mom unannounced. The house smelled of fresh-baked bread, a comfort after sterile ship galleys. She enveloped me in a hug. "I saw the photos online. You were magnificent." We sat in the kitchen, sipping tea, when Brooke burst in, keys jangling. "What are you doing here?" Surprise flickered across her face. Mom steered us to talk. "Girls, it's time." I laid it out, the deployments, the losses, the pride. Mom pulled out Dad's letter collection, including one I'd written after my first rescue, "Saved a life today." Felt like flying. Brooke read it silently, tears welling. "I didn't know," she whispered. "You left us for that world." I shook my head. "I didn't leave. I protected it, so you could shine." Her hand found mine. "I'm sorry, Lena. For everything." Healing didn't happen overnight. It started with small ripples. 2 weeks later, Brooke invited me on her podcast, Glow Talks. The studio was sleek, mics gleaming. "Tell my listeners about real bravery," she said. I shared stories, the squall rescue in detail, the roar of wind, the sting of rain, hauling the engineer from the abyss. Hardest part? Coming home, I admitted. Feeling like a stranger in your own skin. Brooke's eyes widened, her usual poise cracked. Off air, she hugged me. "I get it now." A little. Momentum built. 2 months on, Brooke co-hosted another event, this time insisting I speak first. On stage, I detailed the 23 lives, names like Seaman Hayes, who later wrote me, calling me his guardian at sea. The crowd stood again, longer this time. Then Brooke took the mic. I thought bravery was building a brand, chasing likes. But my sister, she showed me it's in the shadows, holding the line. Her voice broke. I needed charity to open my eyes, to see the hero right beside me. Applause echoed, but her words mended something deep. From there, our bond strengthened like a well-knotted line. We brunched at greasy diners, reminiscing, laughing over that shared bike, how I'd pedal furiously to catch her. She attended my veteran meetups, listening intently. "You're the real deal," she said one night. Inspired, I founded Anchors of Valor, a non-profit mentoring female Navy vets transitioning to civilian life. Mom sewed quilts for our events, Brooke featured us on her show, donations pouring in. Today, a framed photo from that first gala hangs in my office, me on stage, Brooke's awestruck face in the crowd. A mentee once asked, "Wish she'd seen it sooner?" I smiled. Understanding's like the tide, it comes when it's ready. Remember, true valor doesn't seek the spotlight, it earns it. Thanks for sailing with me.